Okay, that's it. It is Friday somewhere. Well, it's Friday most places, I guess. It is. However, 5 o'clock somewhere, 2 o'clock on the Pacific Coast, and I'll be right with you. I have one more square to trim. That's not true, folks. I have a million of these half square triangles to trim, and I've been a bit distracted. As a matter of fact, yesterday I might have accidentally walked away for about 6 hours from this project. But it's super fun, and we're going to talk about what's going on here. But I was trimming and getting ready for the next phase while you all are warming up, getting your comments, saying hello, letting me all know where you're coming from. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Rob Appell. I am a quilt maker and somewhat of an entertainer, I guess, a wannabe comedian from Stitchin Heaven, and I'm so blessed to see all of you joining me out here live today. This is a live show we like to do on Fridays afternoon. We call it Friday Fun Day. We also offer a recorded, maybe a little more polished tutorial on Wednesday afternoons. And we're also doing Chat with Pat over on Facebook. So it's super fun. Really excited to have you all part of our sewing community with us here at Stitchin Heaven. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel if you have not already done so. Join the 54,000 plus subscribers out there. Oh, and I'm supposed to put this number up there because that's really fun to see. And oh, wow, I see New Zealand, East Coast, Massachusetts, San Marcos, California. Is that family down there? Washington. Oh, this is great. And we'll get back to some of the comments here in a few moments, folks. I know we all like the romper room effect, but I also want to let you know I've updated the tile. Here it is. Look at that. We made it this week. Over 1,000 members in our private Facebook group. Qualifications are simple. Just simply log into Facebook and ask. And I believe in today's description, I've also got this button I can push. In today's description, I've put some links for those kinds of things. So a little bit more easier access. Oh no, did I just say that? More easier, better, more better, easier access for all y'all through our social media, which we're having a lot of fun with out there. So anyways, if you ever need, I try to put as much information before the show into the description for you, but you know I do most all of this off of my cuffs, and I really enjoy it. We may get to some free motion machine quilting. I don't want to promise anything because what's really happened over here is I've gotten a bit stumped. I was asked about doing some free motion triangles, folks, and it hasn't gone beautifully. So maybe we can talk this through a little bit towards the end of the video if we still have some time. Not really on a schedule, but as you can see, these are the beautiful fabrics that I'm cutting up right now for my background quilt. So I want to remake this quilt. Now this quilt here is the Synergy Remix. It's from the Splice Magic book. Splice Magic is kind of one of our own publications at Stitchin Heaven, so you can get that on our website. It's awesome, from Christy Smith and Tiffany Hayes, who you know I love, and I've got some more things to say about Tiffany today, of course. But this quilt was the first quilt that I made when I joined up at Stitchin Heaven, and I love the colors, obviously very inspired, and when I created my own fabric line. So we're updating the quilt, we're updating the quilt kits for you all. They'll be pre-cut and they'll be featuring my New Worlds fabric, so you can maybe see them better over there. Again, there's a glimpse of what we've kind of got cut up and organized. I don't want to throw my squares around because I am pretty much deep into my quilt right now, and I don't really want to get, so much that I wouldn't even move it off the set today. And this is one of those things. It's really good. And folks, if you're kind of just stumbled across today's videos, us quilt makers find that the monotony sometimes of quilting, the trimming, the cutting, maybe just the straight piecing is a great place for us to sit and process, a place to sit and heal and consider different things. So when we get into the Grateful List today, I've had some revelations I'd like to share with all of you out there, and some just other fun stuff. So let's blow through our announcements if we can and get into the really good meat and potatoes of today's video. And like I said, maybe some free motion quilting, and we can work on some of those triangles or something else going on. Oh, and also, before we dive into the announcements, as a quick reminder, we have now the opportunity to broadcast in 1080 high def for everybody. So while you're watching this on YouTube, you can increase the resolution a bit, especially when we get into the quilting or looking at fabrics and things, so you can really see what we're doing. And sometimes that can be a struggle with the live videos. And I'm not asking you all to tell me I'm the best live presenter in the quilting world on YouTube, but we do have multiple cameras. I am doing it all by myself. The lighting's great. The entertainment, come on. So what I'm really asking you to do is share these videos with your friends, and that's it's just the fun of the community. And I do come back and I will watch the comments in a bit. And so you have questions, please feel free to write them in there. I will do my best to check them and come back to that towards the end of the video as well. So this is just kind of the fun format. And again, here we go into our announcements. Once again, we are in the middle of the All Texas Shop Hop going through the end of April as well. Extended hours at our shop, Monday through Saturday, 9 to 5. This is really cool, folks. Texas is directly in the path of the solar eclipse happening next week. So April 8th, and we're going to be doing a really fun live streaming event, rain or shine from the eclipse. So make sure you tune in next week. I believe it'll be on Facebook. So make sure you're watching all social media feeds next week. Also, there's going to be something really big happening on the 11th of next week, April 11th. Whether you're a local to Quitman, Texas, or you are a follower to us all here online in all of our social media, make sure you are tuned in on April 11th. We've got something incredibly exciting happening, and I don't want any of you to miss it. That's all I'm allowed to say today. April 11th, put it on your calendar, folks. Look at this really cool video that Elijah's made here showing just kind of some of the things. So it's about eclipse, but don't forget, folks, or if you're just new to the brand here, at Stitchin Heaven, we have a full event center, a retreat center with lodging, plus 6 individual little cute cozy cottages that sleep 4 each, and they rent out for next to nothing an evening. I'm serious, I think it's $99 a night for a bunk cottage for 4 people, and so you can use those whenever you're passing through Texas. But so anyways, here's just a quick 30 seconds of the property. It's beautiful. Here's the inside of the cottages. I love them. So yeah, anyway, it's just a beautiful location, beautiful property. If you haven't joined us in person for one of our events, make sure you come by and Stitchin Heaven. But like I said, maybe it's a little out of the way, but you can use it as a stopover on your way to somewhere else as well. Just remember that the shop is definitely closed on Sundays. And then coming up also on the announcements, let's not forget April 16th and 17th is the Benartex Virtual Fabric Show. On the 16th, I will be presenting Newer Worlds, which is the second release of fabrics from myself, having all kinds of fun with that. And then we also have a really fun event coming up, but we do need you to sign up right away. And that's I'm just going to say OESD, the Let's Celebrate. This is an in-person event where we're going to work on a ton of great embroidery projects in person there, and we just have so much fun. And it's something that even if you're not necessarily into the embroidery machines yet, you're considering. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. This is an event that's designed to educate or inform. If you're interested in how to embroidery because you have an embroidery machine, or if you're also interested in possibly purchasing an embroidery machine, you know we are a Bernina and a Handy Quilter dealership here in Quitman, Texas. And so this event's also designed that if you'd like to come and kind of just get your hands wet and see all the amazing things other than just quilt labels like I do on the embroidery machines. I mean, it really is endless world of opportunity, especially if you like to design or draw or create and things like that. So anyways, it's a really fun way to play with an embroidery machine. That was my gateway drug to this whole world of textiles. I remember when my mom first got the first machine we had at our shop, and it was an embroidery machine, and you could program it, but you had to draw like dots on this carded paper, and we were just basically making what we now refer to as decorative stitches. But then shortly afterwards, there was software, and I remember sitting and being able to draw some of my designs and then put them in embroidery and then put those embroideries on all kinds of different things. And my Aunt Linda still has a sweatshirt to this day that she has one. Well, it's that same sun right there embroidered on the back of her sweatshirt. So anyways, that's some of the fun things things that I guess I just love about being part of Fabric and Friends and all that kind of stuff. So don't miss out on the OESD event. Here's something else. Speaking of family, this is fun, folks. Watch this. This is hilarious. But this is also serious. This is not an April Fool's belated. We are doing a quilters retreat in Asheville, North Carolina. We will be featuring the Biltmore at Christmas. Folks, this is amazing. This is a historical landmark site, but my Aunt Sherry and Uncle Richard live just right down the street. So my kids have been here. I have not, but look at this place. It's just incredible. But of course, it's a quilting retreat as well. So we're going to be featuring 2 different instructors for you, 2 different quilt projects for you to really take the time and enjoy and learn and make while you're there. Of course, I think that these are laid out beautifully. There should be kits involved for you, but here's what I think is so fun. This is Bailey, folks. Bailey is Sherry and Richard's shorter companion, and Bailey is the family, what do I want to say? This is the star of the family here. Bailey could be seen near the Biltmore. So if you are in town, anywhere near the Biltmore, if you would like to join us for our Asheville, North Carolina quilting retreat, we call him a land ahoy, folks, but you might get a chance to hang out with Bailey himself right there at the Biltmore, because I think that could happen. I think that's great. And yes, thank you, Sherry. She got me those photos literally 10 minutes before the live started today. And so I was scrambling to get the photos of Bailey in there for you all. I had one of them was already in my phone, but the other ones just came in hot off the press, folks. So anyways, I thought you might get a kick out of Bailey. Super fun family member of ours, and a bit spoiled, just a bit, of course. But what pet is not spoiled and should be, right? Oh, okay, I see a quick question caught my eye. What day is my fabric going to be available? Well, the fabrics can be seen first during that virtual fabric show, April 16th through 17th. However, folks, please forgive me. I do not know the date yet that those fabrics will start to ship to the local quilt shops, and or we'll start having them for all of our quilt kits in Stitchin Heaven. I want to say around October, but please don't hold me to the fire on that one, okay? I just know I happen to have something coming up in October using those fabrics, and if all goes well, there could be a box opening video in the next 1 to 2 weeks right here, because apparently the fabrics have shipped to me, and it's really exciting because I've got something else in that box that I haven't even told you all about yet. So please stay tuned for that as well. I feel like I've got a lot of stay tunes today. Let's not do too many more stay tunes. Speaking of old news, here we go. Hey folks, it's Rob Appell, your favorite carefree quilter from Stitchin Heaven's YouTube channel. I just want to invite you all to enjoy today's newest tutorial. That's right, we're doing some real basic straight line free motion machine quilting using the foot on a domestic style machine to create a real basic pattern that really complements something like this basket weave quilt. So check out the tutorial on YouTube. I know you're going to love it. Thanks again, folks. Oh, a little slow on the action over here because I've got so many things to scroll through. But yes, last week I posted the how to do the straight line quilting on the basket weave quilt. But it's really a simple, just using your presser foot, very, very fun video. But at the end of the video, I do have a fun blooper, so you've got to watch it. This comment came in this week on YouTube and I absolutely love it. Great video, but putting Tiffany's dirt, in quotes, out there was hilarious. Yes, it was, folks. Super cool. I had borrowed Tiffany's machine, her handy quilter, 510 like I have here, but mine was here. Well, it's a long story. At any rate, I borrowed the machine and it was super filthy, so you got to check it out. I caught her on video, busted, posted, super fun that way. So that's at the end of last week's video, but it's a really good, and thank you again, folks, for all of your positive feedback and your positive comments and sharing the YouTube videos. We've really had a really great growth period here on YouTube, and I appreciate all of you for helping us do that. When I was part of the man sewing videos, don't you like that? At any rate, I did a lot with the free motion, kind of just like little demos, and then we would make videos out of it, and I heard a lot of you loving those back then. And I think that this is the opportunity to start doing some of that. So next week, we will be doing the quilting, and I call it Learn to Baste quilt your own quilt at home. But really, it's a updated version, much cleaner. Elijah helped me film it there in Texas. But it's how to baste your quilt on a table using the clamps and safety pin system, and then a little bit of free motion machine quilting in there. But what I haven't done is I haven't finished out this whole quilt. This is the easiest log cabin ever, and you can see right now that just some of the middle of it is quilted. Here, maybe I can put it in the overhead camera if I hold still long enough. Let's just do this for us real quick, folks. Hold on. Please stand by. All right, overhead camera coming in. There it is. Okay, so you can see that there's been a bunch of swirls and doodle quilting. This is what was being done on camera there while I was filming the video. But in last week's video, I had a lot of folks asking for maybe some triangles or some flowers or all kinds of different motifs. This is what I asked you for in the comments this week, is let me know what I can teach you. So please go back, watch that video, comment on that video. This quilt is not completely quilted for this reason, because I can then practice and teach all of us on these demo pieces, and then we can apply that style quilting to this quilt. This quilt is basically scrappy in the way that the blocks are formed. It's uniform in colors, but it's an all over the place. So doing all over the place style free motion quilting is perfect for this. So let's take this opportunity together. And I always say it in the videos, let's slow down, but let's really slow down. I don't need this thing finished in any time frame, so let's take a couple of more videos as we go along. So again, next week is really about getting your quilts basted on the tables and making it so that you can work real well. I didn't point it out great, but make sure you always have a cutting mat under your quilt when you're putting your safety pins through so that you're not scarring the table down below. And then we'll do some work through. So again, I want to do a little bit of triangle or maybe some flowers. Those were a few of the requests from last week's video, today live on camera, but we'll just practice them here, and then maybe we can develop those motifs onto the log cabin as we work through that. I think that makes a little bit of sense there. Okay, I believe we've completed all of our announcements then, and we are now on to the grateful list, and it looks like we will have some time for some machine quilting. Folks, if you're not aware, I do believe it is very important to get up each morning and just be thankful for those wonderful blessings that we are surrounded by. If you will focus on the good things, you will find that you don't feel as many of the negative things that sometimes increase. Well, let's just move on. And at any rate, so today I have 4, as I usually do. Feel free to write your grateful items in on your list down below here. Colorful tattoos. Why not? I love colorful tattoos. This is the tattoo I did last weekend, and here, let's put this away so you can see it a little bit better, a little bit bigger. It was a memorial tattoo I actually did for a friend of decades and decades, on a friend. It was a memorial of a loved dog, actually, that passed. So really fun to get to do that and play with that color saturation. It was really fun though this morning, and this is I think why I chose this as the grateful list. Meg Cox from Quilt Folk interviewed me a few weeks ago, and the article has just come out. There's a fun article right now about all of you quilters out there and your ink and your tattoos. It's on Quilty Folk, so check that out if you have access to that. I believe it's a free article. It was going around this morning on I think Instagram, and at any rate, it just shares a lot of the different folks in our industry and their tattoos and why they get tattooed. And as a reminder, as a tattoo artist myself, I really thought that was fun. It's just another needle art, and they titled the article after my famous punchline. So anyways, I thought that was awesome, and I was blessed. So thank you, Meg, for including me and the rest of the folks there at Quilt Folk. Whoops, I got a little ahead of myself. So this is a bit of rain. We'll just bounce around. Yeah, front yard this morning was just gorgeous. You know, it's been raining just ever so slightly here in California every few days. And I know that I've had this on the grateful list a lot, but the better the rain flow is, the more grateful I become, because when it comes in giant masses, it doesn't hold right here in California. So I'm very thankful and very grateful for the quantity, but the slow pace of the rain we're getting here. It looks like it's really, oh gosh, the hills are just beautifully green. Let's back up to number 3, letting go, folks. So letting go is one of those things that I guess that's kind of my healthful information for the week. There was multiple things over the last few months that I've really been tossing around in my brain, and it came to decision time over the last few days on several of these things, and I did cut bait on a few items. And as hard as it was, as heartbreaking as it was, sometimes I realize in order to do the things that I really love to do on the daily, I can't chase too many things. I don't know if any of you out there are like me in that fact, but if you sometimes get too involved or try to do too many things. I know my mom and I are this way. We used to travel a lot, but then we'd get our calendar so booked that even when something else fun was offered to us, it seemed almost overwhelming or too much. So yeah, I've learned to let go of a few of those things that were causing me a lot of mental conversations, let's say, a lot of things that I was tossing around. And so part of that this week was processing through some of those things and back to just being at the cutting table, cutting all of these half square triangles out, getting prepared to stitch this quilt up on camera for us all next week. And so at any rate, it was just one of those things. So yeah, on the Grateful List this week was letting go of some things, but also my final one and my favorite one for the week was paying it forward. There was a Christian school organization, and I promised to put the information out there. There's an auction coming up fairly soon. I want to make sure you all have the info, but they asked if I could donate a piece of art, and I said, of course. I had the perfect quilt for them, folks. It's called Abundance. It's a piece I created back in 2018, and because we live here on the ocean, you know, a lot of times we go to the ocean to look at that quiet, that horizon, that resting place, that letting it go place I was just speaking of. So this quilt represents that, but then there's such an abundance of life, just either around the corner or under that water line. You just kind of have to sometimes know where to look. Here's a fun little close-up of some of this stitching. This one was really fun. I tried to stitch in some of like the light coming through the water, and I didn't do the best of job in the quilting of it so that you could see, but I had happened to mark it with a yellow chalk pencil, and so there's just a haze of that yellow still in there, and it actually makes it feel more like the light. So sometimes some of the silliest mistakes are the best resolves as well, right? So as we're working on letting things go and processing through different items, sometimes that's why we do have to let it go so that the right answers can come along their way. Okay, so before we get into some free motion machine quilting and see if we can figure these triangles out together, let me do a quick comments check, and let's go ahead and see how you're all doing there. If any of you have questions, feel free to listen and see if I get to them. If I don't get to them, you can type them again at the bottom of this here. I'm just going to scan real quick. Lots of you joining from all over the world. Ooh, Hawaii, which island? That's fun. This is great. Okay, and let's see, something about Combat Quilter. Oh yeah, Combat Quilter. He and Mark, I spoke to Andrew and Mark yesterday. They are in Minot, North Dakota. They're teaching at a quilt festival right now. Those guys were dressed like twins. I mean, nice collared shirts, polished heads, everything. They were doing great. We had so much fun. And there was a gal in the background who pretended like she was ironing. You know, you ironed that same half square triangle for like 35 minutes just so you could listen to our conversation. Busted. Okay. Yeah, okay. Oh, lots of you live near Asheville. That's great. Okay. Sounds great. Okay, so I feel like I don't have any questions at the moment. So let's go ahead and switch on in here to this needle camera. Oh, first I'm going to put on I've got the slider mat down. I'm going to put on the custom-made Machine Gears gloves. These are fingerless on one finger, so I can still touch my buttons over here and we can communicate and all that stuff. And I'm just going to go ahead and, so the request was triangles. And I think my only really good answer for the triangles on this project is you're going to have to cross threads. Even when I do like a square and a square, kind of a computer circuit boardy kind of design, I'm crossing over. So this was the best I could come up with. I'm not sure it's what you're hoping for, but it sure looks like fun to me. So let's just play with it for a few minutes here. Okay, good. I'm making sure the camera, sometimes this one stalls out over here. So with something like this, I was just kind of stitching, and you're just going to have to make some hard corners, right? You're just going to have to make some hard lines to get that first triangle. So I first started just trying to make a triangle, and then I would maybe like follow that line, but then that left me like, what am I going to go from here? If I do another triangle out of this, I'm going to end up literally making triangles into like a hazmat symbol or something. So I didn't want that, right? We're not looking for this. So then let's just get out of here for a second. So then I just kind of came over here and I thought, well, what if I did like a triangle, and then at a certain point, it's going to go a little past and keep going, and then maybe it can cut through. So maybe that looks a little bit better. And this is going to be something where I've got a little purple thread down there as well. So we're just straight line, straight line, straight line. Maybe you want to, oh, broke my thread. Okay, so that, folks, let's just get you back on action mode here. So that was what just happened with way too many stitches in one point. I'm on my handy quilter 510. It's a very fast machine, and I have it set pretty darn slick. And I'm also using my Aurifil cotton thread, which I really like. There was a question last week, I think, about maybe some polyester threads. I really do like polyester thread for practice quilting and some of my real quilting. Most of my quilts are not considered to be washable quilts, and I'm not even going to get into the difference between polyester and cotton when it comes to flame retardants and all that stuff, because I don't believe the same that we've all been taught. However, what I'm trying to say, and thread at the same time, is cotton thread is not as strong as polyester thread. So when you're practicing something like this, using a polyester thread is good because it will help you develop your rhythm, and you'll get smoother faster because you're not stopping and breaking. And then when you go from poly thread to cotton thread, you just have to be aware that you will break threads more often the first few minutes or day-ish maybe, but then that same rhythm that you've had before will come back. You just need to make sure you're not spending too many stitches in any one location, because that's what breaks the thread. I hope that makes a little bit of sense. I'm just going to go ahead and drop my thread here. Oh, let's go back to so where you can see what's going on, folks. Here's that magic button here for that. And then I'm just going to stitch away from it so we can see what we were doing. And pull this thread out of the way. Okay, so what I was saying again is just kind of this triangle, 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 go in a different direction, triangle, triangle, come across it, triangle, maybe make a big one. You can always come back in and follow those lines. So it's going to have to be a bit organic. Don't rush it. It's not 100% easy, if you ask me. I guess you asked me, you're watching the dang video. Sorry, that was meant to be funny. So something like this may be for triangles. Now, when would this be an appropriate style of free motion machine quilting? Maybe on like a Jetsons style quilt, right? Or a quilt that's got like a space motif, or a, what is that, modern-y, pop arty kind of motif, or you did something that had some real fun, I remember this really fun print that was like the Jetsons cocktails, you know, and they had these straight lines and these martini olives that were just ovals and different things. So triangles like that down the border of a quilt could be an effective motif. I would work on it a bunch more before I really laid it into a quilt. Maybe I can show you a little bit more with that square and a square I mentioned before for the person that was asking for triangles. Maybe this is a better solution for what you're going for. So let's try this. With the square and the squarish idea, I just feel like you can be a little bit more organized. So what I would do for that is I'm going to do the same kind of idea, straight lines. But now that I'm creating a square, it's easier for me to go in both directions and create something that feels maybe a bit more harmonious visually. And of course there's going to be squares and rectangles, but this was the thought I was having when I tried to come up with a solution to the triangle idea, right? But there's our squares. So something like that is a little bit more fluid. I feel like I'm struggling today for words. As much as I was struggling on the triangle design itself. It's one of those things that, like, you need a design that's going to be able to flow to the next design. So even in the squares, the straight line running parallel with other parts of the squares, it didn't bother our eye, but that kind of all over the placeness with the triangles was kind of bothering my eye. So sometimes motifs need to be worked out a bit before they're put into thread and fabric. I know a lot of folks will teach us on a dry erase board and marker, or even just a piece of big paper and a Sharpie marker. You want to be able to put your tip down as if it were like the machine needle itself with thread connected, and be able to draw your motif, whatever that design needs to be, without ever lifting the pen back up. That's how you start to design and develop some of these stitches. For me, I was just getting ready for today's video, and I thought, let's see if I can tackle those triangles here. And I thought it might be kind of fun for you to see that not always am I as smooth as I would like you to think that I am. Some folks seem to enjoy that side of Rob and his carefree quilterness when he's wearing that shirt. So at any rate, let me make sure I haven't missed any comments, and then I'm going to sign off. I'm about ready for my coffee for the afternoon. It's 2:30. Yeah, I do like that square approach, Susie. It makes sense, huh? You're welcome, by the way. Yeah, organic and quilting. It's such a much more polite term than sloppy, isn't it? And funny enough, and I was just visiting with my friend Sujata Shah in her beautiful home with her Quandi quilts. And most of it is all done with hand, at least finished by hand, if not pieced by hand too. And the uniqueness of each stitch is so organic that, yeah, that's where I really have picked up on that word. And I picked up on it from her years ago, but it was really fun to get it re-inspired. I got a nitrous oxide boost of organic this week. Yeah, last week. All right, folks. Well, it looks like I've covered the questions. I'll give you another second to type them in if you feel the need. I'll run back through a couple of those announcements that are coming up next week, which is at a solar eclipse. I hope you get to enjoy it wherever you're at on April 8th. We'll be doing a live broadcast on April 16th and 17th. Will be the virtual fabric show. Virtual means online, folks. And then I will be presenting April 16th at 4:30 p.m. Eastern. That is 1:30 p.m. Pacific, where I think I'll be standing. Don't forget, it is now time to sign up for the Asheville Wonderful Land Ahoy retreat. So you can go see the Biltmore at Christmas and possibly meet Bailey. Well, you know what? I think I like this picture better. That's a great picture of Bailey there. At any rate, folks, it is so great to have you joining us all this week. As I said before, please subscribe if you have not yet done so. Smash that like button. I just think that sounds kind of cool. And make sure that you are all staying well all week. I will see you Wednesday with that awesome tutorial on basting your quilt. And I will be back next Friday with another live right here from the home studio. Folks, I'm so blessed to have you as part of my quilting community. Again, thanks for being here.